we're ready.
What was your reaction? You sat down with officers and law enforcement yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go? Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, your reaction to all of it as we find out the grim details?
District Attorney Barker gave, the full recap as what you all heard today is what I heard yesterday. And, it's hard to hear because it's your child, it's my child. So I'm thinking, my child, like left arm, and, so I'm starting to, I think that through, like, what was it for him and things like that. So it's a lot to process, and mostly that's what I was thinking of was, what was Andrew feeling, and then thinking about the fact that even though he's shot, he knows he's shot, he identifies that to all of the law enforcement that are there, that he's been hit. He still goes back for the Northern Regional officer to grab his hand. And that's what I think about.
I know when you and I talked previously, you said it was a blessing that you didn't have any hate towards the shooter, right, who created this tragic situation. Does the events finding out that Andrew died as all of this was going on in a different way than you first learned, does that change anything?
It doesn't change anything. Every officer there was doing exactly what they were trained to do to the best of their abilities in a very difficult, I can't even imagine, that's not even a big enough word for what it must have been, situation. Every single one of them did what they were supposed to do, what they'd been trained to do. I don't have any feelings one way or the other than deep appreciation for the work that they do every day, for every day that they get dressed and they go out to save and to protect everybody, and to walk into situations like this where you have shooters and hostages. I feel that the Lord has protected me because justice was served in this life on the individual who's caused all of this, because he's the person who came in with evil intentions, and justice was served there. I don't have to go through court hearings. I don't have to go through anything else, and I'm grateful for that there's no extension of this situation into something else. And I don't have any feelings other than deep appreciation for every officer that was there that day.
I see you're wearing Andrew's medal.
Yeah.
His St. Michael medal still.
Yeah.
The DA said that you are one of the strongest women he had ever met, and I think all of us who have spoken to you, you've been so open about your son and how much you love him,
Mm-hmm.
and how heartbroken you are daily, missing him. How are you getting through this day to day? It's been 2 months, which I'm sure seems like an eternity, and also seems like it probably happened yesterday.
Yeah, it's a difficult process. I can't believe it, and every day it becomes much more real that Andrew is no longer here on this earth, and I have to live with that and, walk forward without him. And that's really hard because I loved him deeply with everything that I had. So it's hard. It just is.
Mrs. Duarte, James Corrigan from Fox 43. We heard District Attorney Barker conclude his remarks today by saying that Andrew fought the good fight, ran the race and kept the faith. What pride do you take out of the life that he lived and out of the actions that he took to save the hostages that day?
Yeah, he was there. He was in it. I know Drew. It would have been exciting because you train for these things, and policing probably is a lot of mundane things, day in and day out. I don't know. I'm not a police officer, so forgive me if I'm insulting anybody, but there's probably a lot of not very interesting kinds of calls that you go on or things like that are maybe not police matters. I know Andrew would say sometimes that he would be called to homes and it really wasn't a police matter, and he would tell the individuals that in the most professional way. But this was a police matter, and this is what they train for. This is what you get into policing to do. And so I know it would have been something that there would be a level of, excitement's not the right word, but adrenaline and forward motion, that you were in a really critical situation and you were hopefully, resolve it the way that you want it to be resolved, meaning the threat was eliminated and everyone went home. And so I know Drew was, I wish I could ask him how he felt in that moment, but I can't. But I know that was what he would want to do. That's what policing he would want to do.
So was he not in touch with you guys that morning at all? With your mom hospital?
I sent him a Snapchat that morning, and it was something benign. Wasn't, I don't know. I don't remember what I was telling him, and he responded, "Yep." Yep.
Sarah Metz with WGAL. What happened to your family is someone's worst nightmare. When he told you he wanted to be a police officer,
yeah,
I know your mind probably didn't want to go there, but did it ever? And now that it's happened, what do you have to say to other parents in that position?
Well, after he became a police officer, I will be absolutely honest. I prayed that the Lord would not have me walk this walk that I'm walking today. That was my prayer. But, the Lord is sovereign, and he makes the decisions that he makes, and it's not for me to ask him why. But this is the road that I am now walking. And it wouldn't be my choice, certainly, and it wasn't my prayer, certainly. But here we are. And so for other parents of police officers, I would say that to every parent, love your child with everything that you have, every minute of the day. I always told Andrew that I loved him every time we parted, whether it was coming over for dinner or dropping things off or stopping, or I always said, I love you. And he said, I love you too. And I have a million text messages and Snapchats that say that. So say that to your child. I don't care what they do in life. I don't care if they, whatever they are. And, Andrew was called to this. There wasn't going to be something that I was going to say different to him.
I'm Megan Heaton. I'm from PennLive. What is one of your favorite memories of Drew?
Oh, one of my favorite memories. Let's see. Well, recent memories, and I've told a lot of you this, he was very good at cards and very good at games, and he would beat me every time. It drove me crazy. And something that y'all might not know, because I don't know why I didn't bring it up, but he was a pilot. He had gotten his pilot's license when he was in Denver. And I'm sad I never got to fly with him. I always wanted to. I'm sorry. Tell me again. What was your question? My favorite memory.
That was my question.
Favorite memory. Yeah, he just, I loved being with him. I just loved being with him. Yeah, every minute of every day.
I'm Amy with New
Amy.
York Dispatch. We met
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Mhm.
This is kind of a tough question, but based on some of the statements here today and from what DA Barker was saying, is your family considering any kind of lawsuit or litigation, any kind of liability?
No.
For the house?
Mm-mm.
Seth Kaplan from ABC 27, and also related, we heard DA Barker talked about how, in retrospect, we know the actor's gun was inoperable toward the end there. Of course, nobody could know that for sure at the time.
Yeah.
So we had to ask those questions, and so from your perspective, any sense of, we are appreciative you are, any sense of, oh man, there might have been something that somebody could have reasonably known and done differently?
It's not like the movies where people are counting the rounds and going, oh, okay, there's so many. These are healthcare workers in a traumatic event. How many people know how many rounds are in a magazine? Anybody? Well, police officers, but this is not normal information that people are aware of. But movies make it seem like you could count and go, oh, okay, he's out of ammunition. But who's thinking? Right, and magazines are different sizes. So who's thinking these kinds of things? Nobody is. They're worried for their lives. Understandably so. I can't even imagine
You said
the
that
trauma.
Sorry.
No.
I was just thinking. You said that he was so safe. He always wore his protective vest, and he
Yeah.
was wearing it that day.
Yeah.
So I think one of the shocking things is that it sounds like when he was shot, it just went right through the part that almost didn't protect him.
Because of the angle. So the way that the vests are, when you put them on, there's places where there isn't
There's that mesh.
bulletproofing. So there's the mesh and things like that. And I don't know a lot about vests. I only put on his vest once. Not the one he was wearing, certainly, but he has many. I have 3 or 4 at home. So I had put one on, very heavy, and just to try it on and see. And so there's areas, and it was just the angle. And all I could say is that the Lord called him home, because you can't come to any other conclusion than that.
Does having the investigation concluded, having it wrapped up, does that give you any kind of peace or any kind of closure? Or is that something that you're just going to continue to seek elsewhere?
Well, I think it gives an opportunity to now walk forward in other ways. There's a lot of events that are planned in May and in June to honor Andrew and things like that, both here in the York area and also in Colorado. And so we have the opportunity to be part of memorials for Andrew and to just respect the life that he gave.
So people are in Denver, not just the police department, are people and residents in Denver also kind of like how we are here today? Pretty shocking.
So Mad Colorado they have created an award in Andrew's honor, and they're going to be giving it for the first time at their May awards. It's called the Person of Impact Award, at least that's my understanding, because they feel that Andrew, even though he served in Denver for a short amount of time and he was in the DUI unit for a short amount of time, he had tremendous impact when he was there. I don't know the criteria for determining who's going to be the recipient, but we're going out to Colorado to be at that awards ceremony.
Mad Colorado.
Mad. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers.
I'm sorry, I saw
Yeah.
that. Thought you were gonna say.
Mad Colorado. So having it wrap up, to answer your question, Candace, having it wrap up now gives us the opportunity to really embrace the memorials that are coming up and the things that are being done to honor him, as opposed to having an overlay of things. I'm grateful that the investigation is concluded for our sakes as well as for everyone who was involved.
Following and following it all along.
Yeah.
Is there anything that the community or public can do to help you heal, to support you as you attend these memorials and as you continue to carry on your son's legacy?
Well, I always appreciate prayer, and everybody's been incredibly kind and generous and caring and loving, and I've appreciated every card, every letter, every note.
We have a lot of thank yous.
Yeah.
Yet
Yeah.
to
There's a lot of thank you notes to write. But I hope I'm going to read something to y'all because you're here, and hopefully Andrew won't be unhappy with me for doing this.
he wrote it.
So in going through his things at his home, I found something in his filing cabinet, and I'm going to read it to you because these are his words. This is his writing. This is who he saw himself as a police officer, and hopefully it'll help. So he says, I am a warrior. I am part of a team. Oh, there's exclamation points. I am part of a team, exclamation point. I will never quit, exclamation point. I will only accept victory. I will display professionalism at all times. I will conduct myself in a highly ethical manner. I am committed to excellence. I always seek to improve myself. So that's who he was. That's who he saw himself to be.
What kind of card is that?
It's the back of his notebook. So,
So it's like an affirmation.
yeah.
When
I
you-
don't know when he wrote it. He didn't date it. Darn. So I don't know at what point in his career he wrote this down, but I felt it was important, and hopefully he won't be upset with me sharing, but he can't. He doesn't have a say anymore, so I could share it.
When you found that, what happened?
Yeah, did I cry? Like a million tears? Yeah. Do I cry when I read it? Yeah. Do I have a shirt at home that I got out of his dresser that I smell every day? Yes, I do. Multiple times a day, so that I can still smell him.
Yeah.
Because I always kissed him goodbye and hello, besides telling him that I loved him. But that's who Drew was as a police officer. And I have to say that's who Drew was as a person.
Generally, where was he living? Like township wise, or
He lived in York.
York City?
Well,
York Township.
he would know. I don't know the places.
No, I get you. I'm still learning.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think we're okay.
No? Thank you all for caring, wanting to report on him, for caring enough to want to hear what we have to say. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing on behalf of all of us, because we love to let people know more about these people versus how they die, and you allowed us to do that about Andrew. So
Yeah, because that really is more important than that February 2nd, 11-something moment.
And something we hold on to is in the Bible where it says God has numbered your days. He knows the number of your days before
The first
you
one
even
is lived.
start.
Yeah.
And so he has something for you in mind. And when you're done, he's going to bring you home to those who love him.
Yeah.
A strong people still get sad. Strong
I know, they
people
tell me
still cry.
I'm strong, and I thought, gosh,
Yeah, she
you
is.
don't see me driving.
No, she
trying.
is. She is.
Oh my goodness, I don't feel strong at all. But
It's not true.
Yeah, I love her.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all your time and